Hey everybody, welcome back to another 10-minute Marvel video. I'm Petter, and today we're going to be talking about a rumor for a potential X-Men casting. Now, anything at this point is just a rumor, I would say, unless Marvel is super, confident on it, because there is no director yet. Though the director of Thunderbolts, Jake Schreier, is apparently kind of in that lead position for the X-Men film, which I would love. Talk about that in a previous video here on the channel. But today I want to talk about Jeremy Allen White. You probably know him from The Bear. He's going to be in an upcoming Star Wars movie. But there's rumors that Marvel is looking to cast him, and probably for an X-Men type role. So let's talk about who at least a couple of those rumors are casting him for. Now, my knowledge of him as an actor is pretty limited. I haven't seen him in The Bear, which would be kind of the big thing that people will recognize him for. Mainly just, I haven't gotten around to watching The Bear. I've heard good things about it, but haven't watched him. So, the two main characters that the rumors kind of are around are for Wolverine or the Thing. Not the Thing, excuse me, Beast. There was somebody, I looked at an article from a while back for fan casting. They had the Thing. Obviously, that has been filled in. And which one makes the most sense out of those? Or are there other characters potentially who he could play within kind of the X-Men side of things? And I mean, I guess you could toss in Cyclops as well. I don't necessarily see him as a Charles Xavier type of role. So let's say we're looking at Beast, Wolverine, and Cyclops. Who would be the better fit for Jeremy Allen White? Let me know your opinion down in the comments section below. For me, for what I know of him, I think that he could make honestly, I mean, from what I know of him, I think he could do a solid job in all of those roles. But, and this is where I'm doing a little research here on the fly, 34-year-old, I almost would lean towards him as Beast. Now, 34 years old is not old by any means, and he could play in the X-Men for a long while. But there have been some rumors that Marvel is looking kind of to cast the X-Men younger. Which, in that case, what does younger mean? Does that mean they're looking to cast 20-something actors or 30-something actors so that you could have, say, 10 years, 15 years of time for them? And I think I would tend to lean towards kind of that late 20s, early 30s range, which Jeremy Allen White definitely fits into that range. But I also think that a character potentially like Beast is a good one for somebody who is towards the older end of that range. Just because Beast, I mean, sure, Beast ages up, but that's done through CGI. So I really like the idea kind of him playing Beast, and I think he could be very interesting in that role. However, he is such a strong actor that I suspect he'd do very well with Wolverine as well, and with Cyclops. And to me, out of all of those, all the three that I've mentioned, the one that I really want Marvel to get right, which maybe means that this would be the best option for him, is I want Marvel to get Cyclops right. The Cyclops from the X-Men films is not great. And sure, there's plenty of reasons probably for that, but I would love to see them really do well with Cyclops. And in particular, I want to see a Cyclops who can be kind of gruff and that leader of his own. It's always interesting when Cyclops as a character believes so much in what Xavier is doing, and then when Charles maybe goes against what he thinks the core values are, getting that disagreement and potential split between Charles and Cyclops and kind of taking two separate teams, I think is really interesting. Now, we've obviously had kind of that feel in the MCU with Civil War and the divisions that were created there, but I think with the X-Men, there's a chance to do some interesting kind of separate team up movies, have multiple groups claiming to be the X-Men or the true X-Men or whatever, having different names, but having them be at odds and really kind of leaning into that team element that we didn't see. And that for me is that reason why I really would like a strong kind of actor for that role, and one who can be kind of more gruff. Because as much as I like James Marsden as an actor, he doesn't fit that more serious Cyclops kind of role, and that's just James Marsden as an actor, I don't think is extremely strong in serious options. And I think that Jeremy Allen White would be a very solid option for somebody who can play that more serious, in your face kind of Cyclops role. Now, I say that also then falls into the same category of Wolverine as well. And maybe he's a little bit of a baby face for what I would think of for Wolverine. He's not like a baby face, but his look, he always looks fairly young in pictures, which honestly isn't a bad thing. But even if they don't go with like a Hugh Jackman-esque Wolverine and go for an actor who maybe has a different build and size to him, which Jeremy Allen White being 5'7", that's kind of an ideal height. That little bit more smaller, feistier size. It doesn't have to be tiny, but that would be a nice way of differentiating. But can he look kind of that rough and gruff that I like for Wolverine, both in the comics and with what Hugh Jackman has done? And I'm just not as completely sold with that. Not in terms of the acting side of things, but in terms of kind of the aesthetic. So, I mean, is there an X-Men character that you would like to see him play? The three that I talked about are three that I've seen pop up, not necessarily directly connected with the rumor, but around the rumor that Marvel is looking to cast him. Or is there somebody outside of the X-Men that you think that they could be casting maybe to make a debut in Secret Wars? Drop all of that down in the comment section below. And if you enjoy this content, please give the video a thumbs up. We'll be talking about this more on the next 10-Minute Marvel podcast episode. You can find that podcast here on YouTube. Catch up on all the news and rumors there. To find the podcast, just click onto the channel tab, subscribe, and click that notification bell if you haven't already. We appreciate everybody who's checking out these videos. And then click on the podcast tab. Or you can search for 10-Minute Marvel wherever you get your friendly neighborhood podcast from. But with that, We'll see you next time.